Hi there, and welcome to Living with Victory, brought to you today by Teague's Grocery and Cafe, serving Maggie Valley since 1965, with delivery now available through GRUBHUB. Teague's is Maggie Valley's only grocery store. They're located at 130 Soco Road near the eastern entrance of the Great Smoky Mountain National Park and the Blue Ridge Parkway. Drop in for breakfast or lunch at the Corner Cafe, featuring a variety of daily specials. Teague's Grocery and Cafe is open Sunday through Thursday from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. and Friday and Saturday 7 a.m. to 10:30 p.m. Call 828-926-1147. And by the way, today's program is also available on GodTube, YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, iHeart, and at livingwithvictory.podbean.com. It's time for Living with Victory, a program of hope and encouragement brought to you by Living with Victory Ministries and listeners like you. In a moment, we'll join your hosts, Laureen and Tony Giorgio, for today's message of perseverance and hope.
So if life has left you kicking up dust, keep listening, keep looking up, and grab your umbrella, get ready to sing in the rain. Get ready. God in His goodness is gathering showers of grace. Get ready to sing in the rain.
Hi, this is Tony Giorgio. Welcome to another edition of Living with Victory, where life isn't about waiting for the storms to pass. It's about learning to dance in the rain with peace, joy, and victory in the midst of our storms, because Jesus is your umbrella. And we invite you to check out our website, livingwithvictory.org. You can order some free resources, devotionals, books that you'd like to read through the website, okay? And also, of course, you can send donations through PayPal. It's our friends and listeners, supporters who keep us going. Hi, Laureen.
Hi. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. And I truly hope that you've had a blessed week. Today, we're going to talk about where is your vital connection. That's a very strong word, vitally. And it means in a way that is absolutely necessary or essential. Absolutely necessary or essential. This is John 15:4-5. Dwell in me. Jesus is speaking, and this is the Amplified Classic Version. And I will dwell in you. Live in me, and I will live in you. Just as no branch can bear fruit of itself without abiding in, and here comes the word, being vitally united to the vine. Neither can you bear fruit unless you abide in me. I am the vine. You are the branches. Whoever lives in me and I in him bears much abundant fruit. However, apart from me, cut off from vital union with me, you can do nothing.
I found a little analogy to this on the internet while I was looking through and researching the program and the scripture. And here's a good example for all of us who are on the social media. It says, the internet is a powerful tool. It's the place we go to stay in touch with friends and watch videos, listen to music, and stop for just about everything, and shop for about everything. As long as we're connected to the internet, we can seamlessly move from page to page. But the second our Wi-Fi connection is dropped or service goes down, you get disconnected, the dreaded connection lost message pops up on our screen. Is our connection lost? When our access to the source is interrupted, we do whatever it takes to be connected again. Are we doing everything that we can to get connected back to our source?
that word vital, that almost sounds like it's for life itself. Because Jesus isn't saying you can't go out and do some great things without me. He's saying you can do nothing.
You can do without food for quite a while, but you can't do without water.
That's right.
You know, that'll put you down faster than starving to death.
You know, last week we spoke about whose steps we are following.
Yeah.
Sometimes we don't realize it, but we move away from the vine, Jesus. And it can be very subtle that we don't even notice it at first.
That's right.
We think everything is still the same, but our thought process starts to change.
Yes.
Okay, sometimes we get so busy making our own plans, we get caught up in those plans, and Jesus takes a back seat. And even when we pray about those plans, in our heart, we aren't asking God what He wants for us and what would glorify Him. We are telling Him, this is what I want.
Right.
Now, I'm speaking from experience here because
God,
Tony
yes.
and I know this very, very well firsthand. We had been through it many, many years ago. There was a fast food restaurant we thought we should have. We prayed about it. Even when God sent things to stop it, we didn't stop it.
And we prayed about it a lot. I want.
Not realizing we were saying, this is what I want. You know, when you pray, the intent is in your heart, and God could read that very clearly.
Yes.
That takes you a little further away from the vine, and before you know it, you go on a 10-year detour, and that's what we did.
10-year detour, that's right. Well, you know, Jesus is the living water, and when I say that water is more important to us than food is, Jesus, the living waters in our lives, is extremely important, and to be dried up is not a good thing. We did that, and yes, it cost us 10 years. We wanted, and we prayed that way. We want that restaurant, Lord. In the course of the whole thing, and I won't go over the whole thing, there were signs that He was trying to say, you're not connecting here. I'm trying to tell you, don't go near it. He sent attorneys who said, don't go near it. Believe me, it was the worst decision we could have ever made. We got so disconnected because 7 days a week, we had to make this thing work. All our energies and funds were in it. And there we ended up getting further and further away from our connection.
That business became our God.
Yep.
As we moved away from the vine, we became weak, very, very weak. And then fear became a part of our lives, and total confusion, trying to figure out what to do next. And we just couldn't get out of the mess.
Yeah, we ran in circles like you see a dog chasing his tail. You see that vine, if it breaks away, you're never going to get connected again unless you're fused back to that tree. And we were so far out, we were moving further and further. The anxiety that, we stopped going to church, and then, we had to stay open on Sunday.
And subtly, it seemed like it was common sense things to be doing this, but then all of a sudden, your faith in your spirit dies.
Yes, you lose it. You cannot stay within that spirit without feeding. Anything you do, you have to feed. You have to be in the realm of reading your word. I mean, there's no excuses with the internet and all the technology there is. We just didn't have time for that.
In God's mercy and His love for us, He smashed it. And we lost just about everything, but that was okay too. The wonderful thing about God is that the minute we turn back to Him, He is right there to receive us. At this point, we had no business, no house, no car. Even when you're going through that, you seem like you're in the deep, dark abyss. You could go through those dark times when you know God is with you.
Yes.
But you can't go through anything when you know He's not with you. When you're away from the vine, and you're really not connected and talking to him, so you could hear his still small voice, because that's the only way you can hear his still small voice, is by talking with him and walking with him every day, staying connected to that vine. You cannot hear and obey what he is trying to tell you, whether you understand it or not.
Unfortunately, our vital connection became the restaurant.
Yes.
Day and night, we slept it, we ate it. That was it. We were always there and always on our minds. It just swallowed us whole. And that is not what you want to do. We just didn't listen.
But he gently, through all the turmoil of losing the business and having to restart again, and like I say, it was a 10-year detour, but he gently brings you back to him. He brought us back to him. We have learned a little bit of wisdom from that we will never, ever leave that vine.
You know, looking toward, like the world does, if you're making money, you're successful. If you got a big job with a title, you're great and you're accepted. We are already children of the King of Kings. What more could you ask for? And your Father will give you anything as long as you're there connected to him. And he'll bring you back. It's not that you're lost, just like the prodigal son. His father embraced him, brought the coat back to him, gave him everything back. He's waiting for us to come back. He's not going to say, I never knew you. That doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. He won't do that.
When you keep your mind on him, we remember who we are trusting, and that's where your peace comes from. We remember his promises that he will never forsake us, that his everlasting arms are holding us up, and most important of all, he never stops loving us. And he showed us that during that 10-year detour.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. Before we continue, I'd like to just drop in a little reminder here, and that is that we do have our website, livingwithvictory.org, for all the communications you need on the internet. But you can also write us, or if you want to send a donation for those who are not on the computer, and that address is P.O. Box 1982, Maggie Valley, North Carolina, 28751. You can send messages there, prayer requests if you want, ask for the books, whatever, if you can't do it online. Also, our email address, if you are on the internet, is livingwithvictory@gmail.com. That's livingwithvictory@gmail.com. Also, quickly, I really want to thank, because I've got a moment to thank Derek and Leah Johnson at Teague's Superette over here in Maggie Valley. It's a Shell station that has partnered with us and is helping us with our Fuel for Life gas card ministry. And you can go in there and you can donate, and they'll purchase the cards, $25 gift cards, or any amount you want to give at the collection box there. And they have been partnering with us to help the children's hospitals around the Southeast. We really are very grateful to them for all they're doing, and they're at 130 Soco Road on Route 276, and they have been a blessing to us. So I want to say really thank you, and for all the help to seriously ill children and their families.
We just want you to be able to know that if you're going through something right now and you're very fearful and anxious, you know, we get letters from the people who listen to our programs, and most of the letters refer to anxiety and fear. Yes, I could understand why. Because when you're in a situation and you can't see a way out, you will have those two emotions. But God never meant that to be. That's why he sent his son. And that's why he shed his blood for us to die on that cross. But God doesn't want us to be living fearful. That's not why he put us on this earth.
Not at all.
And he has a purpose for each life, a different purpose. Not everybody has the same thing to do, but there is a purpose for your life. And that is something that makes you valuable. God has something for you to do. To be honest with you, I'm telling you this because I'm even surprised I'm behind a microphone. If it wasn't for God, I couldn't do this. And I just have learned that when I include him in everything that I do, because he wants to be included in every area of your life, and you just stay so connected to that vine, you can bear much fruit. And you can make a difference in people's lives, and you can live a life of victory and have your peace and your joy. God does not want us to be walking around with fear and our heads down and feeling depressed. That is, fear is not faith. He wants us to look to him for everything and to be able to trust him for everything because he cares. When he promises that he will never forsake you, he means that. You know, when you get up in the morning, or actually before I even get out of bed in the morning, I thank him for seeing me through the night, and I thank him for trusting me in this, and I ask him to watch over me. I have someone that I could talk to and know that he is with me, and he will talk back to you if you give him a chance, but you have to be close enough to him to either feel in the pit of your spirit there to know what he wants you to do to try to get out of your situation, or put a thought in your mind. But when you're fearful, you're running in different directions and you can't hear him. So we have to stop. We have to be still, talk to him, love him, read his word, and then obey what he tells you to do. But he will bring you out of whatever storm you're going through. That I know for sure, because he has done it with us over and over and over again.
Oh, I don't know how many times in our lifetimes, in 52 years, between cancers and sickness of that kind, and financial craziness, and you name it, and just the buying that restaurant alone brought us to our knees, so to speak, which was a good thing. But he was always there, and it's not always the burning bush, you know. You're going to either read something and he's brought you to that message, or you're going to hear something. Or sometimes it's weird, but, I wake up during the night, I can't sleep, and I hear a thought, and I know, well, that wasn't my thought. And I know that he's talking to me. There are so many ways. He sends people to you. You never know. He sends angels. You don't know. We've had angels this year abound. I mean, unreal. I mean, we were more down than we were up again. And that's the other point. That's the way life is. And he never promised it wouldn't be that way. But if you understand that he is the one to pull you out of the muck and mire, then you can take it. It'll be fine. He's your umbrella. We use that because we know. So don't despair. Don't turn away. Get closer. Don't get further away. Return. Get back to life, joy, peace, and expectancy that God is in control and working on our behalf. Really.
The most vital thing that you can do is to stay connected to Jesus. That is essential for life. It's essential for your breathing. It's essential for your living. When you have that right, then all of a sudden you're going to find that your strength, your spirit is growing stronger, you're growing stronger, and you feel a hope that I can't explain it. You'll say to yourself, don't ask me how, but I know it's going to be all right.
That's right. And there's simple ways to say, well, how do I do that? Do I go to a class? What? Pick up the Bible. Memorize the 23rd Psalm, okay? Right there. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He leads you on the path. It's so comforting if you understand what he's saying. The Our Father. I know there's a lot there that say, the Our Father. It's in the Bible. It's in the Bible. Read it. He taught it to the disciples.
The first two lines, Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done. It's right there.
In earth. As
it is in heaven. So those two lines alone are telling him how much you love him and that you want it his way, and that will please him, and that will give you the right to humbly come before him.
It just takes seconds to repeat. If you can do it. You can do it. You can look at your iPad or whatever they call those things. You can read it. Just memorize it. And as you're driving along or you're walking out on lunch, just say it. And it puts you right in that realm.
What it does is remind you who God is.
Exactly.
How holy he is. And how great and wonderful and powerful he is.
That's right.
I mean, all you have to do is start looking through the Bible and reading words that describe him. He's the Lion of Judah. Right. This is not weakness. This is strength.
Remember, there's a line in the 23rd Psalm. He preparest a table before my enemies.
Exactly.
And my cup runneth over. Right?
And surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life.
And I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Remember that.
What a promise that is.
Amen.
What a promise to spend eternity with the one who has created us and has given us the purpose. And, the fact that he wants to trust us.
Yes.
Think of that. We talk about always trusting him and how faithful God is to us, but he wants to trust us. You know what that makes that? A relationship.
Exactly.
It's a relationship.
And when you boil it all down, we're on a journey home. The rewards and the gold and all of the prosperity is meeting him on that day.
Exactly.
This is just a turbulent walk in the desert. That's all it is. We're walking through and fighting our way to get to the gates of heaven and to rejoice in the presence of our Lord. That's it. That's the whole goal. So remember that. Get your spirits in tune. And don't worry about I know there's so much happening, but don't worry about it.
I just want to read John 15:4 one more time to get this into your spirit. He is saying, dwell in me, rest in me, come to me, talk to me, walk with me, and I, Jesus, will dwell in you. He wants to live in you. Live in me, and I will live in you.
That's right.
That's a promise. You have Christ with you. You can't go wrong.
Exactly. And when you think of church, we are the church, not the building you go into. Yes, it's good to get in there and congregate with our fellow Christians, but you carry him with you when you walk out of that building, as well as walking in. He's in you, and you make up the spirit of that church. So you're not missing anything. You're not having to wait until Sundays. Yes, you should go, and that's your filling station with the Word of God, but he's in you all week long.
Moment by moment.
You never miss a beat.
Moment by moment. And sometimes whatever you're going through, you can only live moment by moment.
That's right. Yes.
And if he's living in you, you've got the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords.
And he did say, it's written, he will never leave you or forsake you. Understand what those words are coming from the I Am, the Almighty.
If you have a prayer request, please write us and let us know what it is.
Yes.
We would love to pray with you, for you, and stand with you for what it is that you need.
And, you know, we really want to know if we're doing you some good. There's no purpose for us to be here on the air if we're not helping you fill a void, encourage you, give you some hope and encouragement, give you some of our, my God, I've got 3/4 of a century here to give you. And I know I'm still standing. I'm on the air. It's not impossible because he's with us.
The most vital thing on this earth for any of us is to stay connected to Christ. And no matter what you are going through, you can face it and have right in the midst of it your peace, joy, and victory.
Amen. And remember, you don't have to be on the air to do what we're doing. You can go next door, knock on the door, see how your neighbor's doing. That will help a great deal. You're doing the same thing we are. Okay, I guess it's that time. So remember, listen up to our announcer. And this is Tony.
And Laureen.
You have a great week because Jesus is your umbrella in the storm.
Help Laureen and Tony in their ministry by becoming a Living with Victory partner. You can make a donation of any amount through PayPal at livingwithvictory.org or send your check to Living with Victory, P.O. Box 1982, Maggie Valley, North Carolina, 28751. That's Living with Victory, P.O. Box 1982, Maggie Valley, North Carolina, 28751. And remember, you can make a donation or purchase gas cards for Living with Victory's Fuel for Life program at Teague's Superette at 130 Soco Road in Maggie Valley. You've been listening to Living with Victory with Laureen and Tony Giorgio, who for over 30 years have advocated for seriously ill children through Compassion Children's Foundation, today known as Living with Victory Ministries. Support for this radio ministry and our outreach programs comes from listeners like you. Many families that have children that need daily treatments for their illnesses are extremely challenged due to the cost of simply getting to the treatment facilities. Our Fuel for Life outreach supplies gas cards to families at 4 children's hospitals. You can support our outreach programs by sending your tax-deductible donations to Living with Victory, P.O. Box 1982, Maggie Valley, North Carolina, 28751. If you'd like to become a sponsor of this radio ministry, we'd love to hear from you as well. Thanks for listening.
So if life has left you kicking up dust, keep listening, keep looking up, and grab your umbrella, get ready to sing in the rain. Get ready. God in His goodness is gathering showers of grace. Get ready to sing in the rain.
The preceding program was brought to you by Teague's Superette and Cafe at 130 Soco Road in Maggie Valley. Call them at 828-926-1147. You can hear this program and others from Living with Victory Ministries on YouTube, GodTube, iTunes, Spotify, and at livingwithvictory.podbean.com.